Hello, I'm Kara, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make homemade ramen.
This is my grandma, and she helped me record the video. What you will need for the homemade noodles is a 1/4 cup of baking soda, 1/2 cup of water, and 2 cups of bread flour. A rolling pin is needed, and a pasta roller would be helpful but is not required. If you're using the rolling pin technique, make sure you have a knife or pasta cutter to cut the noodles. You will also need tin foil and plastic wrap, as well as an oven and a stove. For the rest of the ramen bowl, you will need chicken broth, garlic, ginger root, maple syrup, chicken, 1 egg, chives, mushrooms, salt, and pepper. To begin making the noodles, you actually have to change the chemical makeup of the baking soda. To begin this process, I've lined an oven-safe dish with tin foil and added in my baking soda. You keep this in the oven for 1 hour at 250 degrees. While the baking soda is in the oven, you can begin the broth. First, you have to cut about a tablespoon of ginger and garlic. Most recipes don't call for onion, but I like to add some for good measure, same with mushrooms. Just cut the ginger and garlic finely and leave the mushroom and onion to your liking. And remember, these 2 ingredients aren't essential to the ramen broth. Now you can turn your stove to low-medium heat and place a large saucepan on the burner. Add a little bit of cooking oil to the pot to ensure your freshly cut produce won't get stuck to the bottom. Let this cook until the ingredients soften. Now you can add your chicken broth. I decided to put a whole container of broth in since I added the onion and I would be adding mushrooms later. But around 2 cups should be fine if you're going from my measurements earlier. You can always use your own broth from home instead of store-bought. After you've added your chicken broth, you can add soy sauce and maple syrup, about 1/2 cup of each. I know the thought of adding maple syrup to a broth sounds odd, but it's in place of mirin, a sweet syrupy alcohol usually found in parts of Asia that can be hard to find in stores. Then I added some salt and pepper. Once the broth is done, you may have to add more so it's to your liking. Now you should wash the mushrooms. Make sure to get all the dirt off so it won't get in your broth. After you get enough cut, however many you may want, reminder that they shrink after a bit of being in the hot broth, you can add them to your broth. At this step, I put the stove on low heat to let it simmer until the rest of the dish is complete, or for about an hour if you're making them separately. If the broth tastes too strong, adding water can help greatly. Since completing the broth took about an hour, the baking soda should be ready. Take it out of the oven and prepare to make your ramen noodle dough. Warm up about a 1/2 cup of water and add a tablespoon and a half of baking soda and stir. Collect any pieces that don't dissolve using a spoon. Now add this to a bowl containing 2 cups of bread flour and mix until you can use your hands to knead the dough. Now this is where your muscles come in. You have to knead the dough for 15 minutes until it combines. Then roll it with a rolling pin just to flatten it out. Wrap the dough in plastic wrap and place it in the refrigerator for an hour to allow it to set. Over the hour the dough is in the fridge, you can start your chicken. The seasoning can be as simple as salt and pepper, or you can add lots of seasonings. I use salt, pepper, chili powder, seasonal, and garlic salt. I also added some extra broth so it didn't dry out, as well as butter. I placed it in the oven on low broil until it was fully cooked. Once the hour is up, take the dough out and roll it until it's mostly flat. You can choose your desired thickness. Then, if you're using the pizza cutter technique like I am, just cut the dough into multiple thin strips to make the noodles. Before finishing your noodles, you should boil some eggs. For a hard-boiled egg, you should cook them for about 10 minutes, but for soft-boiled eggs, like the ones I made, you should cook them for 6 to 8 minutes. Once they are finished cooking, place them in a bowl of ice water to ensure they don't cook further. Finally, you can cook your noodles. You only need to blanch them for about 30 seconds because they are fresh. Scoop them into a bowl straight from the pot after. Then I added my broth on top of the noodles and cut some chives as a decoration. I also cut the egg right down the middle and placed it right on top along with the chicken. After 3 hours of cooking, it's finally done, and I can say that my best friend Maddie found it absolutely delicious. Thank you for watching.